Alright, let's do this mess. Let's do this mess. Okay, so I have a notepad. I have a notepad here. Big notepad. A very big notepad of a lot of stuff that I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna treat this like the post Guild War Ramble for Earth, where I'm going to just read what I wrote because I wrote this when I was at work. So I kind of just wrote this almost like a script. So I'm just gonna go through this, and I'm not gonna like talk to you guys or answer questions or anything. I'm just gonna talk, and then we can talk about what I talked about afterwards. Um, but yeah. So why do you not work at work? Because I was crashing out, bro. And I'm always ahead at work anyway, because I'm the GOAT at my job. Hi, YouTube. Hi. Type this like making a script for big movies. Bro, I did tell y'all I used to be a writer. now I use that for writing stupid stuff like this. Alright, anyway. So I'm just gonna read this. I'm just gonna read this and I'll see you guys in like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Alright. So Makura has her issues, but overall good. My bigger issue is with Earth itself. Then this is like a Makura section right here where I go through Makura just as herself. Pretty much I will bring up her skills over here because this is pretty much what I'm going through. I'm just going through her kit in general, so you can look at this while I go through this. So let me grab this. Ogi good, dodge all is good, re-ups her buff, annoying that you have to Ogi to get it back or wait 12 turns. Also annoying that you can't extend it, but it's fine. Rabbit Rush, very good. Damage, debuffs, charge bar along with her double strike passive. That's 8 hits of damage, 4 debuffs, 20% charge bar every normal attack also activates on dodge. Snuggle Bunny damage is fine. Biggest thing is debuff resistance. Party Veil on an actually decent character is nice to have. Which wish it had better uptime though, especially when not oging. Tender Loving Hair, team-wide dodge all is incredibly strong. Hexa without Alexiel or Gojo. Safety and Faae 0 and tanking triggers outside of God's Sight. Dispel Cancel is a nice bonus. Thank God the Echo is one turn and not just one time, but why is it only one turn for 30%? Would have rather had the Echo been on S2 and lasted 5 turns, and S3 just dodge all and Dispel Cancel. More likely to be targeted plus low defense. Annoying as crap if she dodge or annoying as crap if she dodges, you're on cloud 9. If she doesn't, she gets clapped. No charge bar on normal attacks is a bit annoying, but it's countered by still getting charge bar from others and constant double strike and S1 spam, so it's not the worst. Attack twice each turn is very strong, really no downside to this. Always deals double attacks if you bring up. Okay, so she always deals double attacks. Then I go into another point. If you bring out the lockout of double attack versus triple attack, I literally do not care. If you're not JP, this will almost never affect you, and the only places that it could affect you that even matter is when you're mashing like faae 0 or Hexa or Guild War, which is once per year, and the lockout difference isn't even that big. And outside of mashing, any lockout you may have avoided doing something like this in full auto is going to be made up with her throwing skill nukes anyway, so what's the point? Also bad for TA triggers and fights. I know people are already going to counter this by saying, well, you have hunting, so you can triple attack 4 times and stuff like in faae 0 or in Hexa. Well, what if you don't use hunting? As per usual with Earth things, they are made for the now, and future proofing is terrible. Remember, they're releasing new main hands as grands now. Also, on the start of a new year, new jobs or weapons can bring change, and then you're cooked if they don't make up for her. Anything is possible, and anything can change. So hunting could potentially move out, or you could use something like Andromeda. Double attack is still less damage per turn if you need to push a certain point in a fight. It could have been possible if the character was always tripling, but you're being gated by double attacks. This is somewhat made up by all the skill damage that she does, but she'd still be doing more if she had the exact same kit, but she could triple attack. Grid nowadays reach 100% TA rather easily if built for it, in addition to also having characters like Raziel and Olivia that can help guarantee it. So it wouldn't have been hard for Makura either, and you still have to build TA for other characters anyway, so why limit her to 2 permanently? Anything that has effects on triple attacks is completely useless for her, including her own weapon. Halloween Dante's unique echo also useless with her. God forbid they give us a character like Gabriel that needs triple attacks to do something. The one saving grace it is permanent, so at least it's consistent and it's consistent damage. Activate Rabbit Rush on normal attacks and dodging. We talked about this earlier, but this is strong. Dual Bladed Menace. Oh, I'm down to these. Dual Bladed Menace, same notes as above from the Ogi. Good but annoying uptime without Ogis. Overall, Makura's good. She has drawbacks, but she's strong and gives utility to the party. Definitely a unit I'd roll on, considering getting her before next year is going to be rough. If you miss her here, I can only pray she leads to my wish of replacing all the clunky units in Earth with new ones. Speaking of which, the main point of this video isn't actually Makura. She's not a 10 in my book, but she's a step in the better direction, but high key the element is holding her back. I've said many times, especially in my previous rants, that when you make characters like we've already had, you're setting yourself up for failure off rip, because then you have to plan everything in the future around it, completely power creep it, or deal with the clunkiness even when better stuff comes out. Right now we're dealing with that clunkiness. I'll just go over some characters. We'll start with the okay ones. So Sadala and Makura seem fine together, and their interactions are cute. Their interactions are cute. The one thing that is annoying about this pair is that they both like to get blown up by both having the more likely to be targeted tagline. Between the two of them, they do have 2 dodge alls though, so this is nice. It does kind of suck that if Sadala uses hers while Makura's is up, the Makura one on Sadala still gets eaten, but not a big deal. Makura also helps Sadala's low debuff resistance with S2, and overall they can hit a lot of debuffs. Ariel also more or less fine. The bigger issue with him and Makura is that Makura doesn't give him any TA, which is what he struggles with the most, or many red skills. The bigger issue here is fitting these two in a party in general. More on this later. Olivia is a bit 50-50. Olivia giving her buff to Makura is nice for the constant double striking nukes, but does throw away the TA buff that could be more useful on someone else, so you kind of have to choose. Besides this, they work well together, but Olivia's ramp up for her empowered S2 is becoming more and more of a hindrance because she's slow, and as we continue to get more characters that want a spot on the team, you can't always just bring in Lobelia to speed up things, nor would it be optimal anyway with the damage of other characters. Jesus Christ, bro. Medusa, Makura is not a primal. As I've said before, every character that is not a primal completely negates half of Medusa's already whack kick. So even though Makura is good, she just outs another character that could be available to use, and a new one no less. Dante, as stated before, completely screws his unique echo on triple attacks, so what's the point? Raziel is the big one for me. These stacks continue to be more and more clunky, especially the red ones. For the most part, yellow skills are more prolific in Earth, and Makura adds onto this, making it really hard to get her stacks where they need to be. If you use them in a team together off rip, this is only 2 red skills. You can bring someone like Uriel for the last spot with 3 red skills, but you may not always want this. For example, if you want to bring Olivia, and if you do bring Uriel, his skills are so skewed towards red that now yellow can become a problem, because Makura and Raziel together are only 4, which isn't terrible for 2 characters, but their cooldowns are long without oging. This is the same for Uriel's reds as well, all very long CDs. MC can help this a bit, but considering one of MC's current strongest classes in Earth is Berserker, you often bring 2 or 2 for skills, and you don't even gain access to the red skills for many turns. For example, this is supposed to be party. A party of MC Berserker with 2 skills. Raziel, Uriel, Makura is 7 red, 6 yellow, and you'll get to 8 red plus 2. So what I mean by this is, you know how Raziel has to stack up 3 stacks? This is like the plus 2 right here. So you'll get to 8 red plus 2 and 7 yellow plus 2, or 8 yellow if you have Orologia turn 1. After this, you're going to be waiting ages for you to get access to more red or yellow moves from this team, especially if you're not oging. And the only place you'll really use a team like this is Wamda's Tefnut, where by the point Raziel gets her stacks, the fight is either dead or stalling out until buttons come back up. A solution to this is to play something else like Glorybringer, so you can bring more of one type of skill on MC, which isn't to say this is bad or that change is bad, but it just kind of sucks that if you want to use a team like this, which is usually stronger since Raziel's buffs are very powerful and a red nuke or yellow flurry is a lot of damage, you have to really limit your MC job choice. Another issue with Raziel is Leviathan mare. You guys know I have to talk about it. This fight is a nightmare when it comes to planning to use her, but to talk about this, I need to talk about the fight itself and Summer Silva. Starting with Silva, her usage is too strong in this fight because of the shield, and her backline ability to terminate it way easier than without her. This counteracts Raziel though, because you get into a situation where you really want to use Raziel to burst the end of the fight before he kills you, but your options either are bring Raziel frontline with Silva and completely gimp your stacks because of Silva's low red skills, or bring Raziel in from the back with Silva, but then Raziel misses all the button presses that the team did while she was off screen. So tying this back to Makura, this puts you in a situation where even though Makura is good for this fight and could help push this encounter faster with Raziel's buffs, damage, S3 is incredibly hard to put them in a team together because of the need for Silva Raziel stacks. Oh my gosh, all the way back here. Let's see. This. Furthermore, on Leviathan itself and its interactions with Makura, Makura's Veil and Dodge do not stop inundation stacks. This means that even with this utility, if you do not bring Lucifer Friend Summon or a clear like Amelia, if you get hit by Devori, whatever, you are cooked regardless. This also affects the grid and character roster because since you are forced into single-sided, you either need to not use a faae 0 key, use 3 Exaltos, or always have Uriel in the party to hit the faae 0 keys. Not using a faae 0 key is whack for multiple reasons. Using 3 Exaltos is also whack and not something everyone even has. And Uriel being in the party is fine, except you almost always want Lobelia backline over him. And because of the lack of team space due to the need for Silva, assuming you're bringing Makura, this only leaves 2 potential spots in the party. This is supposed to be party again. For Uriel to even be. And if you wanted to use another character over him, well, too bad, because you're forced to be single-sided unless things like Dodge All or Olivia S1 lines up to save you at the end, and they almost never do. Since we're talking about encounters, let's go on to Hexa and faae 0 next. Honestly, for Hexa, if you bring Cam and Olivia, you can practically do anything you want up until 40%. This team completely lacks dispels for the dispel triggers after 40%, which means you're completely beholden to bubs and 000 calls for these. You could bring Raziel, but stacks, and this team will probably struggle with 2 mil hits as Makura's skill cap is low on her follow-ups and probably won't hit 2 mil individually, but needs to be tested. Sadala could work and honestly is probably just one of Makura's best partners in general, even outside of Hexa. As I said before, you still do lack the spells of a Raziel Sadala comp that you had before, so you'll need to be wary, but probably your best bet overall. Over here. Oh, I gotta swap back to this real quick. For faae 0, I'll be completely honest, I'm not impressed. She is almost a one for one with Raziel, just now you have less dispels in exchange for having to press less buttons to get Raziel stacks up. But honestly, with self-reflection and sacking Fraw at the start of the fight, Raziel stacks weren't really that much of a pain, and you could get them up by around 80%. The damage is also incredibly similar outside of extremely fast speed rooms that operate differently than normal co-op rooms. I also feel like Makura is taking more damage than Raziel due to her hostility, but maybe these were just my rooms. Makura's dodge all is also completely useless post 20% if Godside is not taken care of. I also feel like this makes this comp more dangerous as Raziel can deal more damage safely with the use of her S3 and not having to take a turn at the end. Also a much easier time of 99 mil damage outside of just using 000 with S3, Raziel's S3, as opposed to Makura and needing to press buttons. Again, overall, my issue is more so Earth and the encounters it has to face as opposed to Makura. I think she has drawbacks of her own, but overall she's good. But the element is holding her back, and this is a good start. If we don't continue to get characters at her level that can filter out people like Olivia, Razio, Earl, then she's really just swimming with weighted clothing. I'm mostly just tilted because they've screwed up so much stuff that it rips the wind out of my sails when I get a new character that looks decent, but then I remember I have to pair them with the other characters in my element, and that character alone isn't enough to pass all the jank. Again, though, I will just hold on to the hope that is Makura, and hopefully other characters can reach and play well with her. There you go. That is my Earth disappointment document. So, yeah. So pretty much, in conclusion, the Makura is fine. This element is just seeking dog water, and the fact that she has to play with this element makes her dog water in comparison. Like it brings her usefulness down because the element kicking sucks. The element kicking sucks. So I don't know, bro. I don't know, bro. Bro, this is